Hi, welcome back to the channel. So as promised, I said I'd show you how this buddy box system works. I'm using the Aeroscout here. Of course you can use any plane for this, and I'm already bound to it, as you can see. If you did want to bind to it with this controller, that's covered in one of my earlier videos as well, but simply you'd put in the bind plug before you connect the battery, then you connect the battery, and then you would go in the pick your plane here, which is my Aeroscout, and then I would go down to, can I make that a bit closer there? Yep. Then I go down to bind, click bind, and then it will bind to the plane. Okay, it's already done here, but again I covered that in an earlier video. Got a 5-minute timer by default. I think that this plane can do a lot more than that in 5 minutes. I click in here and I'm going to go down to my setup, system setup, which will disconnect my RF, so you don't want to do this when you're flying the plane. Yes. And then we go down here to trainer. I'm going to use wireless trainer. Now I have some choices here. So I could, for example, click here and disable the throttle. So only me as the instructor can use the throttle. I'm going to let my student use the throttle. But in the other plane I've used this, so I've disabled the one called gear, which simply means that the student is no longer able to change out of safe mode. So maybe I don't want them going into advanced mode just yet, so I'll disable that. And on the other one, my flaps were, I think, auxiliary 2, I could disable that too. And now they can't use that button either, but they can use all the other buttons. Now we scroll up to bind, we click on bind, and now he's waiting to bind with the student controller. So I show you the student transmitter now. This is your very simple DXS transmitter. It's turned off, so throttle down, throttle cut on, everything else can go forward. And I'm going to press and hold the bind button, keeping it in, hit the power, lights flash, it beeps, and the other one said bind complete. Now the DXS transmitter is connected to my NX8 transmitter, and my NX8 transmitter is controlling the plane. So I have set this up in 2 ways now. I have set it up so that if I touch the buttons, it takes over, or if I hit the switch. So let me show you now. I have this switch set up to turn on student mode.
Student has control.
So it's just told me that the student has control. Now I'm the student and I can fly the plane. But I cannot change the modes because I've already restricted that. Okay, I can turn on the throttle though, and I can kill the throttle. All I need to do as the instructor is simply touch something and I've taken over control. As you can see here with the DXS, the student no longer has control. And the way I have set mine up is the only way they can get back control is I have to flick this switch that I've set up here. And now the student has control again, but if I touch something, student loses control. And I'll show you that here. You don't have to set yours up this way, but you can if you like. System setup, yes. Trainer mode, wireless trainer. Set up here my switch A, which is this switch here, which turns the mode on and off. And down here I have set master override to active. So that means all I have to do is just touch something and it takes over. And I like that because if my student pilot does something and they're getting very close to a tree or anything like that, I don't want to have to be switching buttons and thinking about switching over. I just can immediately turn and the plane turns instantly. the way I like to have it set up. You could, of course, turn that off, and now the student is in control. It doesn't matter what I do, nothing will change until I have to hit that switch. But I like to have that on. And you can go up here, switch A, and you can roll through the menu and change it to any switch you want. What I like to do when it's highlighted is just move the switch, and it automatically goes to switch A. We can go back, and there we are, back to our plane. That's how it's all set up. I can go out now, take my student, and my student can fly with their new plane and their new controller and have fun. I'll be watching, and they have not to worry at all. If they have any problem, I just take over instantly. And if I want to give them back control,
Student has control.
because I've set the switch.
Instructor has control.
When you set it up by default, it actually uses the bind button. So you can press this button up here, and then the student has control. But the difficulty with doing that is now I have to hold this button for the next 5 minutes, and the better the student gets, the longer I have to hold the button. I really didn't want to do that. That's why I set it up so this active control takes over instantly, and if I want to give them control,
Student has control.
switch it up, and it says student has control, switch it down,
Instructor has control.
instructor has control. That way when I'm out flying, I don't make a mistake. I like to have all my switches forward when I'm flying, and I know if it's not in the other mode, it's not, the student mode is not going to activate accidentally. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed the video of setting up the trainer mode. It's actually quite simple. Hope you like the channel, subscribe, and you'll see some more videos in the future. I've still got to post a few more that I have on my computer and yet need to edit. It's just to find the time. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.